Welcome to CBS Sports opening day coverage of the 73rd National Football League season. The visiting Phoenix Cardinals take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, Philadelphia's Randall Cunningham is not the only quarterback returning in action today from knee surgery. Phoenix welcomes back Tim Rosenbaugh, and the Cardinals are hopeful for a complete turnaround from last season's franchise record, 12 losses. You know, turnaround is certainly a theme here in Tampa. It's been that way for 10 years, and trying to stop a 9-season losing skid will be new coach Sam Wyche. My partner is George Starke, and George, you played with Sam. Team offensively and defensively, 20 new faces from last season, including 7 starters. And the Phoenix Cardinals get set, and we're underway. The 73rd NFL season, and from the end zone, it's Gary Anderson. And Anderson dives over and lands at about the 23. So it'll be Tampa ball, 1st and 10 from its own 23, a 26-yard return from deep in the end zone by Gary Anderson. Vinny Testaverde will be at quarterback, and this is the offensive line in front.
Paul Gruber hasn't missed a play in 5 years. That's their leader.
The backs in receivers.
Lonzo Highsmith, great blocking lead back for Sam's offense.
And as I mentioned, Vinny Testaverde starting his 6th season, final year of his 6-year contract. He's got to do it this year. On the ground, and Cobb dragged down in the backfield. Good pursuit and hustle for a loss of 3 that time. Ken Harvey, the right outside linebacker. And George, we were most impressed looking at him last night. A set of arms, we may as well call him guns.
I've never seen arms that big, Jay. It wanted to make me go back into the gym.
It'll be 2nd and 13 for Tampa. Push back to its own 20. Highsmith in motion. On the ground again. This is Cobb, and Cobb gets back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe about a yard shy of that. So it'll be 3rd and 11. Phoenix, a big defensive front.
Well, Phoenix is big. What they want to do is physically pound Tampa's team at the line of scrimmage.
The linebacking core, perhaps a strength in the secondary, an outstanding second-year player in Aeneas Williams at that left corner spot. 4 wide receivers for the Bucs on 3rd down. Testaverde with time. Drills it complete, and what a hit, and jarring the ball loose, applied by Tim McDonald. Boy, now that is a defensive secondary hit that you like to show on the highlights.
You know, taking a look at this hit, Joe Bugle has got his defensive guys pumped up. He feels that he can physically dominate Tampa in this game and intimidate them. That's a perfect example of how to play defensive back. You know,
and that was Courtney Hawkins, the rookie out of Michigan State. Welcome to the NFL,
Welcome to the NFL, Courtney.
Dan Straczynski back to punt for the Buccaneers. Johnny Bailey back for Phoenix. So it's 3 and out for Tampa. And Straczynski, and there's a flag on a play. As Straczynski was run into by one of the Buccaneers, Johnny Bailey will go ahead and run it anyway. And an excellent return by Johnny Bailey, but it will all be for naught.
You know, Joe Bugle's been saying all preseason he's had too many penalties. Here's a situation where you're about to get the ball and you've given it back to Tampa.
Larry Centers, the guilty party. Gordon McCarter, the referee.
Running into the kicker, number 37, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
You know, Joe Bugle likes aggressiveness, and this is an aggressive type penalty. Nonetheless, at this stage in the ball game, the most important thing is ball possession. You know, not kind of a bonehead penalty for this. 4th quarter, maybe, not right now.
Boy, and I tell you, I know one guy who's going to talk to Larry Centers, and that's Johnny Bailey. That was a 49-yard punt, but even better, a 37-yard return by Johnny Bailey that was nullified. He'll get a chance to do it again. And this one not as good a punt by Straczynski, but at least Bailey won't get an opportunity to return it. So Phoenix will take over. Opening drive coming up for Phoenix of the new season, and Tim Rosenball back at the helm to take a look at what he did back in 1990, one of only 2 quarterbacks to play every offensive down. Of course, we all know that he spent all of last season on injury reserve. And Joe Bugle, a big offensive line.
Big offensive line, and he's got Mark May, one of the original Hogs, at right tackle. His presence makes Bugle feel very comfortable with this offensive line.
The backs and the receivers.
Which role? Anthony Thompson, a good lead back.
Tim Rosenball, and I tell you, veterans and youngsters alike, a lot of confidence in this young man. Rosenball to pass on first down, and it's complete. A 5-yard pass play to Randall Hill.
You know, JB, how Bugle views a little 5-yard play like that, it's as if he's run a sweep, a 5-yard sweep. This is their version of the sweep, a little 5-yard hitch.
And this is the Tampa defense that will be going against that big offensive line.
Yeah, 2 rookies inside in Wheeler and Dotson. A lot of confidence Sam has in those 2 guys.
Linebacking core experience with Jimmy Williams there.
Williams and Thomas, Nebraska guys.
And an improved secondary. 2nd and 5. 6 defensive backs in for the Buccaneers. Rosenball hands off. And Bailey squirting his way ahead for about 3. Should bring up a 3rd and 2 situation.
You know, Bugle is going to try to pound this Tampa defensive line. He feels that his guys are bigger and stronger. What you're going to see today most likely will be the infantry. And there's the man himself, Bill Bugle. He's got his victory shirt on. He's nervous. He can't stand still. It's called a head coach opening game. A little bit of the jitters.
3rd and 2 for the Cardinals. Rosenball gets rid of it, complete for the first down to Ricky Prohl across midfield. It'll be first down for the Cardinals. And we'd like to welcome those of you who've been watching the New Orleans-Philadelphia contest, a game that the Eagles took by just 2. James Brown and George Starke with you here in Tampa, Florida. Phoenix against Tampa. No score in this contest. Phoenix, its opening drive across midfield. 1st and 10 for Phoenix. Ball at the 49 of Tampa. Prohl in motion. And Rosenball rolling right, going to the air again. Throws it incomplete, looking for Ricky Prohl. And Rosenball flattened on the ground by Broderick Thomas. Now that, of course, I'm sure is a sign that gives many Cardinal fans a bit of relief to see Rosenball bounce back up, coming off of that knee surgery.
You know, on the last play, we didn't see it, but Rosenball took a big hit after he released the ball. What's happening now is Bugle doesn't want him to take any hits. He wants to keep his guy healthy, so he's going to roll him to the right, roll him to the left, kind of roll him away from that inside pressure. So you see a lot of movement from Rosenball today.
Buffalo walloped the Rams. 2nd and 10 here. Ball at the 49 of Tampa. On the ground, Johnny Bailey. Johnny Bailey spurting his way ahead for a gain of about 7. Will bring up a 3rd and 3 situation. Johnny Bailey only 5'7", about 180 pounds, but he is lightning quick. Boy, look at that one. Tell me that isn't a bit of a surprise.
Oh. Houston's supposed to be going to the Super Bowl.
And Indianapolis, now that is a surprise. The Colts getting off to a good start, knocking off Cleveland.
A
few groans from the truck. 3rd and 3 for the Cardinals. Ball at the 42 of Tampa. No score, first quarter action. Rosenball throws for the first down, and Ernie Jones, did he hold it? Did they call it a fumble? And it looks like down by contact. The line judge signaling down by contact. We'll see if the play holds.
The ruling is down by contact. First down.
So it is a first down for Phoenix.
Take a look at it, JB. This is Ernie Jones. It's just a short 8 yards. It's like a hook in. He only needed 3. He picked up what he needed. Dropped the ball, but it is down by contact. Once you make that hit and your knee goes down, the key is that he's down. I don't know, JB. Down by contact. Close, very close.
Nonetheless, 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Ball at the 36 of Tampa. No score, 9:44 left in the first quarter play. And good pursuit as Larry Centers loses yardage on the play. Santana Dotson, a rookie out of Baylor, with a very impressive play.
Now, Santana Dotson is a rookie, but he has great quickness. Here he is in the middle of your screen on the nose. That right guard tries to come across and pick him up. He slides through, makes the play. Nice play by a young man, rookie. Get his year off right.
A good play indeed as Santana Dotson dropped Larry Centers for a loss of 4, bringing up a 2nd and 14. Johnny Bailey, the lone back. Rosenball back to pass. Has the ball deflected. Incomplete. So a very active Tampa Bay defense, and Santana Dotson taking a note out of the book of Broderick Thomas being very active out there on the field.
Let's take another look. Santana, once again, he's got that big hand. Santana, 2 big plays in a row. This defense wanted to put a lot of pressure on Tim Rosenbach. So far, they've been successful.
A versatile player who can play inside and outside. The note on him, Santana Dotson, from Sam White. 3rd and 14. Intercepted by Tampa. And it looked like Al Chamblee make that Darrell Fullington. Darrell Fullington comes up with a big interception. Rosenbaum throws interception number 1 during the regular season for 1992.
You know what's strange about this play, JB, is that Rosenball is not really getting any pressure. He's got a lot of time, and yet he throws this ball into triple coverage. That's the kind of thing a fella might do if he was being rushed. He was not. I'm not sure what was on his mind.
So with 8:52 left in the first quarter play, Tampa takes over. Ball on its own 29. Testaverde complete. And Dawsey spins his way for a first down. Great 2nd and 3rd effort by Lawrence Dawsey.
You know, that's a big play for a fellow right here. Sam White didn't get to start the game the way he wanted. He wanted to sprint right, sprint left, and have Vinny throw short 5-yard passes. This is a 5-yard pass, but Dawsey makes it a 10-yard gain. That's hustle, and it may be the very thing we need to get this Tampa game going. Get Tampa fired up. That's what they have to do, and get the crowd behind Vinny Testaverde.
And a measurement of the play should confirm what appeared to be obvious from up here. Indeed it is. What a great 2nd and 3rd effort by Lawrence Dawsey, who, George, is only 195 pounds, standing 6 feet tall, but you can't measure the size of the heart.
Well, absolutely. You know, here's a young man out of Florida State. And like I said, you know, the key to this game is you don't want the crowd booing Tampa, and every little bit helps. That's the kind of thing that gets the crowd going, which gets the team going.
8:30 left in the first quarter of play. No score. Testaverde, play action. With time, dumps it off to Alonzo Highsmith, and Highsmith gets within about a half a yard of the first down marker.
Alonzo Highsmith.
And welcome to those of you who've been watching the Chicago-Detroit game. The Bears eke one out by 3 here at Tampa Stadium. No score. Tampa on the drive. This is Tampa's 2nd possession of the game. A 4-yard gain by Alonzo Highsmith. James Brown along with George Starke. And George, it's been, I guess, an impressive game in terms of drives, but mistakes cost Phoenix on their first possession.
Well, mistakes did cost Phoenix, but they got the ball back. What's really their problem is continuity, and Tim Rosenbach throwing that big interception. Right now, Tampa's taking it to him.
From the 46, 2nd and 6. Cobb. And Cobb maybe a yard on the play. Good aggressive hustle and pursuit by the Phoenix defense. Ken Harvey leading the way. And they'll give him 2 yards, pick up on the play. So to bring up a 3rd and 4. Ball marked at the 45 of Phoenix. Again, no score. 7:05 left in the first quarter of play. Vinny Testaverde audibly at the line. Back to pass. Good protection. incomplete. The ball in and out of the hands of the tight end, Jesse Anderson, third-year player out of Mississippi State. And Tyrone Stowe providing the coverage.
Here we have the big fella, Jesse Anderson, just missing the catch, you know. Jesse Anderson, Mississippi State, third year. Just got to look at him, Jesse. I think he probably felt Mr. Stowe coming his way. Mr. Stowe being a very big hitter. He knows that from watching the films.
So that brings on Dan Straczynski, who will punt for the second time this afternoon for the Buccaneers. And back deep, Anthony Edwards for Phoenix. Good punt. Will it stay in bounds? And the coverage team couldn't get down time enough to keep it back in play. Excellent hang time of 4.9. Now there is a late flag back at about the 43 as we take a look at scores from around the league. Philadelphia wins. Atlanta ekes out one against the Jets. Green Bay and Minnesota all tied in overtime. What a big victory by Buffalo, 4-7 over the Rams. Chicago by 3 over Detroit. And Pittsburgh, I think that qualifies as an upset, 29-24 over Houston.
Okay. Illegal use of hands. Number 75, receiving team, immediately after the snap and before the kick. 5-yard penalty in the previous spot. First down.
Well, the culprit, Mike Jones and Joe Bugle, as you mentioned, George Starke, very upset about preseason penalties. And now into the regular season.
This is the one intangible, the one thing that drives a coach nuts. You can get your team to play hard, but you can't have penalty mistakes.
First and 10 for the Buccaneers. Ball at the 40 of Phoenix. 6:37 left in the first. No score. Play action. Vinny Testaverde throws it complete to Ron Hall. And Ron Hall, the big tight end, bullying his way for a first down. 15-yard pass play from Testaverde to Hall.
You know, JB, we had a chance to talk about Vinny Testaverde's play action. We didn't see the action at the line of scrimmage, but we talked to Vinny yesterday, and we remarked on how adept he was at hiding the ball on play action. He said they worked at it. Here we see a successful play.
At least in the early going, Testaverde looking very comfortable with this no-huddle offense. Ball at the 24 of Phoenix. First and 10. And Cobb spinning his way ahead for maybe 2. Bring up a 2nd and 8. Now, interestingly, Sam Wyche told us yesterday he didn't want to put Vinny early into a situation where maybe he would throw some incompletions and the fans would get on his case. Testaverde looking pretty good so far.
Well, absolutely. Sam thought that he couldn't physically handle this Phoenix defensive line, was going to run to tire him out. In fact, they're handling them very well at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't feel he has to play that kind of game.
Second and 8. Testaverde overthrows the intended receiver, Mark Carrier. And fortunately for Testaverde, that incompletion comes late in a series of passes where he has looked pretty good.
Well, he has looked very good. And I think it's interesting to note that Ken Harvey came hard that time. Paul Gruber shifted out, picked him up very well. They're trying to get, their game plan was to get to Testaverde. So far, they're not getting close enough to rattle him at all.
Third and 8. Testaverde out of the shotgun. Drills it complete. And it looks to be good enough for the first down to the rookie, Courtney Hawkins. This time, Hawkins holds on in traffic. A 9-yard pickup on that pass play. That's something that hasn't happened too often here in Tampa, getting the crowd to cheer.
Well, I understand Sam Wyche has been on a personal campaign to get the city behind the team. That'll translate into the town being behind the team, and of course the people in the stands behind the team. Coupled with good play on the field, it seems to work, JB.
That will do it. And how hard has Sam Wyche worked to get the fans behind him? in 100 days, 97 speaking engagements. And Vinny Testaverde, not sure of what he's seen, decides to call timeout. Tampa, 1st and 10, ball at the 13 of Phoenix, calls for its first timeout. And George, let me ask you now, if I had to ask you to play psychologist as we try to read into what Sam White was feeling when talking about Vinny Testaverde. Again, this is his 6th and final year, Testaverde, of his contract. Do you believe that White has the confidence that Testaverde can do the job?
Well, I think that White probably doesn't really know, JB. He'd like his young man to do the job. He's a young quarterback. He's at that age when quarterbacks should develop. But Sam wants to bring a winner to this town. If Vinny could not do the job, I don't think that Sam would blink an eye about going to DeBerg, who's sitting on the bench. He wants his young man to do well, but if he's not going to have his team go down the tubes. He wants someone that can operate his offense.
As we take a look at some American League action, Minnesota losing to Toronto. Toronto, boy, I tell you, talk about a battle between Toronto and Baltimore. A half game separating these two as they go into action today. Oakland with a more comfortable 4.5 game lead over Minnesota. 1st and 10, ball at the 13. Jennings and Anderson, the backs. Testaverde with time. Now he loses it, and he's dropped. Give the credit to McDonald and Jeff Faulkner. A loss of 11 on the play, so Phoenix's defense busts through.
What we have is a safety blitz by Tim McDonald. Very rare, and the kind of thing you only do early in the season. Late in the year, when a team gets a read on you, if you do this kind of thing, they throw that ball in this vacated safety area for a TD. Early in the year, you'll see it.
So it brings up a 2nd and 21. I think McDonald and Faulkner will share that sack. Testaverde to the air again and drills it incomplete. The intended receiver again was Mark Carrier. Lawrence Dawsey was in the vicinity, but neither had a chance at it.
You know, once again, I think the key here is they're down the field. They're in field goal area. Vinny took that hit. I hope it's not going to make him skittish. He's getting excellent protection from his offensive line. Once again, Ken Harvey came on a big move, and Paul Gruber picked him up. No one's touching Vinny so far except for that last play on the safety blitz.
Can't find him any better in the league than Paul Gruber at left tackle. 3rd and 21. Roll out to the right, complete, but nowhere near what's needed for the first down. Gary Anderson run out of bounds, so Tampa will have to settle for a field goal attempt. An impressive drive down the field, but the Bucs will turn to the foot of Ken Willis. Willis, an acquisition from Dallas. Dallas really wanted this young man. Talked to him before placing him on Plan B, saying, we want you. Please, will you commit to us? Willis said, in fact, I will. Got a much better financial deal from Tampa, and he's here in Tampa. This will be a 40-yard field goal attempt by Ken Willis. Dan Straczynski holding. It's up. And it's good. So the Buccaneers hit the scoreboard first, thanks to the foot of Ken Willis. The skyline of downtown Tampa, where I understand around 5 o'clock every afternoon we can't expect a sprinkle. We'll find out if that's the case. Right now, picture perfect scene there. And not bad action on the field as Tampa hits the scoreboard first, leading 3-0. 13 plays, covering 49 yards. 5:41 taken off the clock, and Ken Willis boots through a 40-yard field goal, and the Bucs lead it 3-0. 3:11 left in the first quarter play. James Brown along with George Starke, the ex-head hog of the Washington Redskins. And Willis puts a foot in it, and it'll be Edwards from about 2 yards deep in the end zone. Anthony Edwards turning upfield and upended at about the 21. Give the credit to number 28, Stanford Jennings. And there is a player down right there at about the 10-yard line, and we'll bring you an update on Walter Reeves when we come back.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile. the power of intelligent engineering. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Wrangler, comfortable jeans for men.
Back here at a warm Tampa Stadium, you take a look at Jesse Anderson, who was the down Tampa Bay Buccaneer, a very special member of the special teams who contributed 14 tackles last year on teams, and he's okay, so he left under his own power. And tripping in the backfield, but maintaining his footing somehow, was Anthony Thompson. But a loss of 3 as the defense stretched the play out.
Jesse Anderson starting out to his right. Looks like he's going to trip. Oops, just hit his feet. That's the kind of thing you normally see on an artificial surface. You don't really see Anthony Thompson do that kind of thing on grass. Interesting thing about Joe Bugle, he's trying to get some push on the corners because his tight ends are his best blockers. Didn't work that time.
A 2nd and 13. Now faced by the Cardinals. Ball at their own 18. And on the ground, again, it's Thompson. And Thompson picks up a grand total of 1. Well, for an update, what's taking place Giants 49ers, let's go to Greg Gumbel.
Hi, JB, at the Meadowlands, the 49ers are on the scoreboard first. Steve Young on the rollout, 3 yards to Tom Rathman with the point after. The 49ers leading the Giants 7-0 in the first quarter, James.
All right, Greg, and no matter what the quarterback controversy may be, that's still a very potent team, the 49ers.
Well, the 49ers are the kind of team that they can beat you so many different ways, regardless of who's handling the snap.
Rosenbaum back on 3rd and 12, going up top for the home run ball. Randall Thrill Hill was the target, and incomplete.
You know, JB, the problem with the offense for the Phoenix Cardinals is before they can go up top, they have to establish a running game. They run to set up their pass. The running game hasn't been working, and the fact that it's not working really is firing up these Tampa fans here. But without having a running game, they're not going to get any deep downfield passes.
Greg Davis will be handling the punting chores today. Rich Camarillo out of action still with a pulled hamstring, suffered in warm-ups the last preseason game. And not a particularly good one, but it takes a Phoenix roll. And Tampa will take over after that 52-yard punt.
July 1992. Oldsmobile goes further than any other car.
And why not? The greatest tennis action.
Won straight sets. Looks like Ivan Lendl's a winner. Becker Steve still playing. A lot of stars left in the open.
1st and 10 here. And Gary Anderson, slender of build but quick of foot, with a 4-yard gain by Gary Anderson. And he's coming off of a very strong preseason, having led the Buccaneers in rushing with a 5.9 average.
Well, not only has he led the Buccaneers in rushing, he's their speed guy. He's the guy that can double as a wide receiver and go downfield for the big play also. Very fast runner, Gary Anderson.
2nd and 6 from the 32. Less than a minute to play in the first quarter. This is Anderson again. And Anderson has the first down and a lot more.
That's Gary Anderson. He goes to the right. Sam Weiss felt if he can run sweeps on this Phoenix team, that perhaps he can wear them out. This is Gary Anderson running to the right. Sam Weiss wants to go sideline to sideline. He thinks he can wear out these big hitters that are playing in the Phoenix defensive backfield. He thinks their size works against them when it's a hot day and they have to cover sideline to sideline. He may be working for him.
Well, it was a good hit by Michael Zordich that prevented Anderson from gaining more than the 13 he did. 1st and 10. Ball at the 45. And Anderson again. 5 yards off to the left this time. Gary Anderson stopped by Eric Hill. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Tampa 3, Phoenix zip. We'll be back with the second quarter action after this. Start of the second quarter here in warm Tampa Bay. Bucs on top 3-0, and one of the best left tackles in the game, only a 5th-year player, Paul Gruber. And I know, George, as an offensive tackle, you can appreciate his skills.
Well, I was talking to Joe Bugle, who's playing against him. And And he says he thinks this guy may be the finest left tackle in the game. He would like to have made him a hog. He hasn't missed a down in his entire pro career, which of course is 5 years. And he's handling Ken Harvey very well today. Ken Harvey, who you and I met yesterday.
A very quick Ken Harvey.
A very strong Ken Harvey.
2nd and 5. Ball near midfield. Testaverde audibly at the line. On the ground is Cobb, and Cobb pushing ahead for about 4, make it 3.
You know, on this play, this is Gruber. He's got Mike Jones. The play is going the other way. His job is to cut off Mike Jones, which he does. And if he can get through there, then go up for the linebacker. Mike Jones stayed with him. He stayed on Mike Jones.
3rd and 2. And the one thing I've learned from you ex-offensive linemen, how important footwork is. And he looked good that time.
Oh, he's got good footwork. It's all part of being a good tough. Good footwork and an awfully big, strong guy who never gets hurt. Can't ask for more than that.
All in motion, Testaverde getting pressure and throws it out of bounds. A smart play by Testaverde. Now in years past, he might have thrown that one as an interception.
Well, that's the kind of situation where Testaverde is rolling out to his left, you know, and he puts a lot of pressure on that side. See, when the safety sees that, he comes up because they feel they've got to rattle Testaverde. As we've seen, given time, he's been very successful today. They've got to come from the backfield because so far those defensive linemen and those linebackers have not come near him.
Well, no time on that play thanks to Tim McDonald, the 60-year strong safety. Dan Straczynski on to punt again. And that one will be brought out to the 20. Boy, excellent hang time again, a 4.7 on a 47-yard punt. An improved version of the Buccaneers on the field so far. And as we take a look at Keith McCants, number 52, third-year player out of Alabama, right in, and he's got a nice one-on-one battle going with the veteran Louis Sharp.
Louis Sharp, Joe Bugle, when we spoke to him yesterday, said that Louis Sharp, even though he's been around the league 10 years, is really having a fine season. That's Louis Sharp, number 67, 11th year at UCLA.
And believe it or not, Joe Bugle, and you may have said it, thinks that Louis Sharp is playing at a very high level, and that's impressive coming late in his career.
He absolutely is, and a lot of that has to do, Bugle said, with the addition of Mark May at right tackle. And Mark has raised the level of intensity in the practice, and all the other linemen have come up with it.
Talk about raising level of play. The Minnesota Vikings coming out with an overtime victory over the Packers. Denny Green continuing the string of victories. 1st and 10. Play action by Rosenbaum. Drills it. Is it complete? And it looks like it was down by contact, so Randall Hill, I guess, will be credited with the catch. A 9-yard pass play.
That's Rosenbaum. Play action. Not much of a play action, actually.
Yeah.
Ball down by contact.
And he had it.
Once again, though, number 71, Santana Dotson, right there to pick up the ball. When you have defensive linemen who like to pick up fumbles and run them into the end zone, I think it's safe to say these guys have not been affected by the heat.
Surprising also that Sam White would think that he might be able to wear out the big guys from Phoenix. They practice in equally stifling heat.
Well, not only stifling heat, but they're at
right now, the Cardinals trying to keep it on the ground as they pick up the first down. Roderick Thomas on the stop. Well, how well did Minnesota do? Let's find out from Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, you saw the final score. Here's how the Vikings won it. Claude Rouvet from 25 yards out with 4 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the overtime. The Dennis Green era well underway in Viking land. They beat the Packers 23-20 in OT, JB.
All right, Greg, the Vikings have yet to lose under Denny Green, an undefeated preseason. They start off the regular season on a winning note.
Absolutely. You know, they had to be a little bit worried. Preseason's preseason, regular season's regular season, and they've had a good start.
And, George, let me correct myself. I called that last play a first down when, in fact, it was inches, 3rd and inches on that play. And that is a first down as signaled by Gordon McCarter. Tony Covington, second-year player out of Virginia. I'm getting a little upset. You might not find that kind of play typical for a guy who likes to write poetry to get out there and get into a slugfest.
Well, we spoke to him yesterday, and he is a very gentle young man off the field. Of course, on the field, he's all business. You know, you have a situation today where both of these defenses are fired up. Looks like it's probably unsportsmanlike. That's what most fights tend to be. You know, as I was saying, the defense for both of these teams felt they had to. That's a coach. That's Floyd Peters right there. Of course, defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucs.
And in fact, it was an unsportsmanlike penalty assessed to Covington. So 1st and 10, ball at the 46 of Phoenix. 11:56 left in the first half. Cardinals trailing by 3. And number 3, Rosenbaum, going up top. Nearly caught anyway. What a great effort part of Ernie Jones. But give Tony Covington a lot of credit. He was there step for step.
Let's take a look at the protection on the left side. That's Louis Sharp. Once again, Rosenbaum not really getting rushed, but downfield, not a good read. I mean, great try by Ernie Jones, but not a good read by the quarterback. He's trying to go downfield, but he really hasn't established a running game first, and that is the problem in the Phoenix Cardinals right now. They need to run before they can pass.
Rosenbaum seeing his first action during the regular season in a year, keeping it on the ground that time, and Johnny Bailey running ahead for the first down. What an impressive running back he is at 5'8", 187, third year out of Texas A&I, and he racked up a bunch of yardage in college, 14 on that particular
James
play.
Brown, this is the classic counter gap as run by the Washington Redskins. The left side of the line's pulling up through the hole. Mr. Bailey makes the play. I think Joe Bugle was having flashbacks. He thought he saw John Riggins. Nice play. Counter gap to the right.
And just to think, perhaps the best back for Phoenix is back in Phoenix. Johnny Johnson having signed late, 2-week roster exemption. 1st and 10. Ball at the 40 of Tampa. And Anthony Thompson. So Bugle mixing up his backs. A gain of 6 on the play.
He's mixing up his backs, but he's not mixing up his plays. He ran the same play. When we were with Tampa yesterday, they said one thing about Bugles they know. If he runs a play and gets 5 yards, you're going to see the same play again. He just ran counter gap 2 times in a row. 10 yards the first time, 6 yards the second time. I wouldn't be surprised to see that same play going the other way right now, 2nd and 4.
That was kind of humorous. The player said if he gets 5 yards to the right, he'll go 5, try to get 5 on the left. And what does he do? Anthony Thompson tries to go to the left.
Counter gap, going to the left. That's Mr. Joe Bugle. You find something that works, you do it until they stop it.
Gain of only 1 that time. Now, you were telling me, George Starke, in your 13 years of playing on the offensive line, but especially with the Redskins, you said, my goodness, I could not believe it. You said you guys did not have a lot of running plays.
We had 1 running play. We had exactly 1 running play for 1982 and 83, went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Then Bugle thought that wasn't right. We should expand our running repertoire. So he added 1. Then we had 2 running plays. The counter gap was the play they added.
3rd and 3 from the 33. Centers and Bailey, the backs. Rosenbaum out of the shotgun. Drills it complete, and we'll see where they mark it as Randall Hill is going at it with Jimmy Williams. And Jimmy Williams, I guess, if there's such an expression, contradictory in terms, politely intimidating him as he hands the ball back to him.
Jimmy Williams has been around a long time, out of Nebraska, 11 years. That's a look at Randall, the Thrill Hill.
So it was not quite enough for the first down. We'll bring up 4th and inches. And let's see. It looks like Phoenix is going to go for it. Ball at the 31. 4th and inches. On the ground. First down. Anthony Thompson taking it up top. The 3rd-year back out of Indiana. Leaping ahead. And a good thrust by that offensive line of Phoenix. And again, expounding on that, Sam White thought that maybe because Joe Bugle loves the big beefy guys, that maybe he could come in with some plays to try and wear out the Phoenix guys. But you were saying Phoenix practices at 7,200 feet.
In Flagstaff, Arizona, I believe, not only do they have the same heat, it's 120 degrees in Flagstaff, Arizona, but they're also at 7,200 feet, so you have the altitude factor. So when asked about that, Bugle said his guys are ready to play regardless of heat as a factor.
8:16 left in the first half. Bucs on top 3-0. On first down, on the ground again, and Bugle showing that he likes the running game, keeps it down on the turf. A pickup of 4 by Johnny Bailey.
You know, Bugle is forcing us to be somewhat redundant. That was counter gap to the right. He's found a play that's going to work. He's picked up for a first down play. 4 yards is what you'd like to be. That's the classic amount of yardage you want on the first down. We're going to see it a lot.
2nd and 6. Ball at the 25. Rosenball with 3 wide receivers to choose from. Going up top. Barely overthrows the intended receiver, Ernie Jones. Just barely. You know, Jones really turned on a blast of speed right there that last second. Ricky Reynolds was right there with him.
You know, the situation with Tim Rosenball today is he's had guys open, but he's just not hitting them. Ernie Jones, in fact, as you say, JB, did have a burst of speed. He had a 4 yards, you know, on the defensive back. Rosenball threw the ball a little too flat. In a corner pattern, you want to drop it down the chimney, let him run under it. I think that Tim Rosenball is just a little bit off today. He needs to get his patterns down.
And so was Ricky Reynolds, who was a little bit off. From my angle, I said he was right there with him, but no way. He was at least 4 yards off. 3rd and 6, Cardinals. 3 of 6 on third down conversions. Rosenball running it. And he has the first down inside the 15. That's what he did so well the year before he got injured, as he picks up 10 there. 2nd best running quarterback in the league that year to Randall Cunningham.
Absolutely, and this is why Joe Bugle likes this guy. He's a tough guy. I think we can put any questions about his knee to rest. His toughness was never in question. Picked up the first down. He's Bugle's kind of guy, and it's the type of play that, if successful, will inspire the running backs and receivers. When you see your quarterback going downfield and throwing his body around, it inspires everybody.
12th play of the drive. 1st and 10. Ball at the 15. Rosenball nearly got himself in trouble that time as he threw it. And Randall Hill was the intended receiver, and he actually batted that ball down, batted it away.
In this case, Randall Hill has become a defensive player. If you're not going to get the ball, whatever you do, don't let the other guys do it. Tim Rosenball that time was a little bit skittish. He felt pressure when he really didn't have pressure. You got to read the defense, throw the ball. You're only on the 14-yard line. Plays are going to develop very quickly. Read them and hit them.
13th play of the drive coming up. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 15. Rosie throws it complete to Hill. 5 yards picked up on a play will bring up a 3rd and 5. Jimmy Williams on the tackle.
Let's take a look at the 2 receivers. That's Hill on the outside. A little delay. And he curls under, comes underneath. That's the kind of play that you have to do when you're this close to the end zone. That deep zone is going to drop deep, and you're going to get little 5-yard patterns over the middle. You take the 5 yards. 5 yards is 5 yards.
And Phoenix will also take a very favorable spot. Forward progress makes it a 7-yard pickup. 3rd and 3 from the 8. Rosenball complete to Larry Centers inside the 5. 6 yards picked up on a play. 1st down, so it'll be 1st and goal to go for the Cardinals with 5:30 left in the first half. Cardinals trying to get on the scoreboard, trailing 3-0 to Tampa Bay. And George, you got to like this style of football. I mean, However, just keep pushing the ball down the field.
Keep the chains moving. This is like a 5-yard pass is like a 5-yard run. Keep the chains moving. Keep the chains moving.
First and goal. Ball at the 2. And there's a timeout on the field. Charge to Tampa Bay. Bucs holding to a 3-point lead. We'll take a look at the game summary up to this point in the contest. Again, total yards, Phoenix with 90, Tampa Bay with 69. Phoenix looking very impressive on the drive thus far. And George, I was asking you, what is it that Phoenix has done well on this drive?
Well, what they've done, I believe, is recognize that Rosenbaugh is not throwing well downfield. So they're going to take this little 5-6-yard pass over the middle. Nothing wrong with that. Chip away, chip away, chip away. Move the chains. Ball possession. Tampa doesn't have the ball. They can't put any points up. And you eat the clock. You move down the field. Just take what they give you, and you'll be fine. Here we are.
And Phoenix would certainly like to improve on that stat from last year. Among the league's worst in rushing touchdowns. They've got an opportunity here from the 2. First and goal. And play is stopped on the field as the officials gather to conference here.
It's like some controversy about ball placement, I think.
And it looks like right now they've got the ball down on the 1. And in fact, it was at the 2 when we went to the break there, that timeout. You think the players might have...
I think Mark May pushed it forward.
Reset the play clock to 25 seconds. Play clock to 25. Thank you.
So they're actually saying move the game clock up to 25 seconds. But I tell you, that ball was at the 2 when we went away for commercial, that timeout. It's at the 1. First and goal. Ball at the 1. On the ground, Anthony Thompson, fumble! And we're awaiting the official signal from the referee. And it looks like it's going to stay Phoenix ball. What a wicked hit and push by Tampa. Mark Wheeler, the rookie out of Texas A&M.
Well, it looked like it went off sides, but that's Mark Wheeler who submarines through. Great hustle, great play, great strength. Nice hit. Let's take another look at it. That's Mark Wheeler, the rookie, who's been playing next to number 71, Santana Dotson. So far, they have stymied that interior Phoenix offensive line all day.
The only rookie starter on defense for the Bucs. Second and goal. Ball is placed at the 3. And touchdown, Phoenix. Anthony Thompson finally breaks through, and the Cardinals finally get on the scoreboard.
Well, the Cardinals have not had a lot of success over the last year or so in rushing touchdowns. So, first of all, Bugle has to be happy he's got the lead. Number 2, he's got some offensive continuity. There's Bugles. Give him a smile, Bugles. Number 3, touchdown, but a rushing touchdown.
And that's what he's accustomed to. Speaking of that, Bugle is much more involved with offensive line coaching, and we'll elaborate on that a bit more as we take a look at Greg Davis, who comes on to attempt the point after. And it's good. So the Cardinals move out in front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 4:11 left in the first half by the score of 7-3. 80 yards with an Anthony Thompson 3-yard run. Cardinals on top 7-3. Coming up at halftime, Greg and Terry. An excitable Terry Bradshaw along with the calm Greg Gumbel back in the New York studio. Scores and highlights from around the league. And, of course, a U.S. Open report. Back deep.
A lot of stars doing that U.S. Open, JB.
And a smart play by Gary Anderson to keep that one back. Touch back as he downs it. And it'll be first and 10 at the 20. And is that Joey Browner in the middle of that? Steve Heisch, number 97, a very active young man. But Joey Browner, a master practitioner in the martial arts. Heisch had reason to be a little upset as he gets pushed for no good reason, and Joey Browner actually trying to keep him calm. 4 left in the first half. Fourth possession of the first half for Tampa, and the Bucs trail by 4. Testaverde complete to Dawsey. A big first down pass play. Testaverde to Lawrence Dawsey near midfield. A 28-yard pass play.
Let's take a look at the protection on the right side. That's Freddie Joe Nunn trying to get past Charles McCray. No pressure on Vinny Testaverde. Great protection, and with good protection, JB, as you know, comes pass completions.
And a big one at that.
And a very big one.
First and 10 for the Bucs. Ball at the 48. 3:56 left in the first half of play. Cobb and Highsmith, the backs. And a big hole. Cobb for the first down. A 17-yard run by Cobb.
This is Reggie Cobb. He starts off to the right, sees that hole develop, and makes a cut. Key here is he's running with good eyes. We saw Reggie Cobb earlier make some bad cuts. That was the right cut to make. Beyond that, in addition to good running by the back, once again, Tampa is dominating at the line of scrimmage. Something we didn't expect, considering the size of that Phoenix defense.
Cobb finally stopped by Massey and McDonald. First and 10, ball at the 35 of Phoenix. And it looked like a broken play there. But Cobb somehow still manages to pick up 3. A 28-yard pass play, a 17-yard run, and 3 yards picked up on a broken play. Reggie Cobb, the running back out of Tennessee, in 3rd season, finished the preseason with a 5 yards per carry average. So he's coming off of a good preseason.
Not only that, JB, you know things are going your way when you have a broken play and you pick up 3 yards. That tells you 2 things. One, your running backs are running hard, but 2, your offensive line is giving you space so that even if you make a mistake, they can still get some yardage.
Bucs with 3 wide receivers. Dawsey in motion on 2nd and 7. Testaverde complete. Did Dawsey hold it? He did. Still on his feet and gets some of the yardage back. Michael Zordich finally pushes him out of bounds after 6 yards were picked up.
That's a remarkable play by number 80, Lawrence Dawsey. When we talked to his coach, Harold Jackson, the other day, he said this young man is remarkable after the catch. Great balance, tough to get down. We saw a perfect example of that.
As a matter of fact, John Madden calls that the RAC, the run after the catch. 3rd and 1, ball at the 26, on the ground. First down, Tampa Bay. 2:18 and counting left in the first half of play. And Alonzo Highsmith was the ball carrier.
JB, what's happened is that Sam Weiss has gone to his offensive line platoon system. He has taken the entire offensive line, except for Paul Gruber, out and put in his 2nd platoon.
And we're at the 2-minute mark of the first half. Tampa Bay threatening. Live action as you take a look at Aeneas Williams, a 2nd-year cornerback out of Southern with the bruised thigh. It looks like he's limping just slightly there. Tied for the NFC lead in interceptions last season with 6. So the corners now, Robert Massey comes in for Aeneas Williams to go along with Lorenzo Lynch. First and 10, ball at the 22. 2 minutes left in the first half of play. Testaverde with time. Still with time. Nearly intercepted as Testaverde tried to drill it into Mark Carrier and Robert Massey, the 4th-year player out of North Carolina Central, right there. Testaverde 7 of 13 for 81 yards so far.
Once again, Testaverde getting plenty of time to throw. We thought he might try to exploit the absence of Aeneas Williams. He went down the middle, incomplete. But once again, he got good time, even though this is the 2nd line. This is not the first line to start the game.
2nd and 10, ball at the 22. Incomplete again. Mark Carrier, the intended receiver, and Lorenzo Lynch, 60-year player out of Cal State Sacramento, with the good coverage.
Let's take a look at Vinny. He throws the ball well downfield, looking for carrier. Lorenzo Lynch defending. I guess you'd have to say good defense on that play.
And Lorenzo Lynch has been battling most of the preseason with Robert Massey for that starting job. 3rd and 10. Tampa 2 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. The Bucs with only 1 timeout remaining. Phoenix with all 3. And Vinny drills it complete down near the goal line to Willie Drury. 1st down, Tampa Bay.
Take a look at Drury. He's at the top of your screen. A little bit of current inside. He beats Massey. I'd have to say Vinny Testaverde, good look, good delivery, good catch. Fine offensive play. And as usual, as has happened all day, good protection by the offensive line. Can't say that enough because that's where everything starts. When you give him time, you ask Vinny to deliver. Today he has certainly delivered, JB.
1:03 left in the first half. 1st and goal, ball at the 1. What do they call it? It's a loose ball. No official signal. Freddie Joe Nunn looked to be the Cardinal who had it initially. We're awaiting the official signal. Gordon McCarter trying to sort it out.
JB, the key here is whether he had possession when he crossed the plane of the goal line or not. It doesn't matter if he fumbles once he breaks the plane.
Or was he hit when he went over the plane, though? Was he hit?
That's what has to be determined. He can be hit after he crosses the plane. Doesn't matter. It's a TD.
And check out, no instant replay this year, so the officials will have to make the determination on the field, as both White and Fritz Shermer, you took a look at, are waiting the signal. Here's Gordon McCarter.
The ball carrier had broken the plane of the goal line going in before the fumble. It is a touchdown.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Now, here's our instant replay. Take a look. As Cobb goes up, he's hit by McDonald. Now, that was my question. But he was hit, I guess, after he crossed.
It's not him, JB. It's the ball.
The ball.
Doesn't matter where his head is, or his nose is, or his lips are. It's where the ball is. The ball has to cross the plane. And the officials have ruled that he was hit and fumbled after he crossed the plane.
And Ken Willis boots the point after. And the Bucs ease back ahead by 2. Make it 3. Tampa Bay on top, 10-7.
Take another look, JB. He's over the plane. You see that line? Imagine the plane coming up from that line.
White is not boring.
Not boring, and you can imagine his level of excitement. He's a rookie coach here in Tampa. He's in the middle of the huddle of the kickoff team. He's excited. His players are excited. You got to feel good for a guy like that.
Definitely not boring. Sam White said his most important objective here early on was to establish a winning attitude.
That's right, and part of his establishing a winning attitude is letting his guys know that he's with them. For better, for worse, good times and bad times, he'll be with them.
Bailey from the 1. And Bailey takes it up to about the 23. Tackled by Elijah Alexander. Well, George, you proved correct on this one, but McDonald did get a helmet on the ball, but too late.
Take another look. The plane is an imaginary plane coming up from the goal line. The ball just has to cross it. It's over right now. Before it's knocked out. Possession of the ball as it officially, that famous NFL phrase, breaks the plane.
Phoenix with 43 seconds left in the first half, trailing by 3. The Cardinals have all 3 timeouts. Tampa with 1. Take a look at the scores. Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw are bringing you up to date a busy menu on this opening Sunday of NFL play. Rosenbaum dumps it to Bailey, and Bailey shifting and gets up near the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. And there's an injured Buck player down on the field near the 23. It looks like Tony Covington.
During the last 2 minutes, an injury is a charged timeout. That is Tampa Bay's third and last charged timeout.
Well, I think you heard Gordon McCarter clearly on that one, articulating that Tampa Bay with an injury, 2 minutes and under left in the first half. It's a charged timeout. Tampa Bay with no more remaining in the first half.
Let's take another look at Tony Covington coming in. Looks like he slips. It looks like he got his arm pulled back, but he's in fact holding his leg. Let's take a look.
Hard to tell from there.
Hard to tell. He appears to be on the field holding his leg. Maybe when he fell on his side, could be a hip pointer or something like that.
And don't forget, coming up in just a few moments, we'll take you back to New York for Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw. And as I mentioned, a busy menu for the guys there. Scores and highlights from around the NFL, all the early games, and a U.S. Open report. The Colts with 11 sacks against Cleveland. That's a note I'm sure they'll expand on. And also talking about coming up tomorrow, U.S. Open coverage will be coming your way. The big match, Jim Courier and John McEnroe.
I think I'll be there.
1st and 10. Ball at the 33 of Phoenix. Rosenbaum still with time. Throws it to a wide open Ricky Prohl, but a bad throw on the part of Rosie. As we mentioned, Phoenix, full complement of timeouts remaining with 23 seconds. Tampa Bay with none remaining. Rosenbaum 8 of 16 for 57 yards and 1 interception. You know, this is a tough-nosed guy. Of course, he would like to have had a more impressive first half, Rosenbaum, but he is confident enough in himself to come back.
Well, he's a perfectionist, and he's not going to be happy with his performance here in the first half, so he'll try to come out and eradicate this.
On 2nd down. Throws it in traffic, and it's incomplete. Milton Mack right there applying the hit on Ernie Jones.
Milton Mack over in defensive lane for the Buccaneers.
Darryl Pollard, 5th-year player out of Weber State. Boy, I tell you, San Francisco was most upset with Tampa Bay when San Francisco waived this young man. Tampa Bay jumped right on him, and there were a lot of mad coaches in San Francisco.
Absolutely. Well, the addition of Darryl Pollard and, of course, Joey Browner, they've got some veteran help back here in that weak secondary.
Was it caught? Indeed it was by Larry Centers, but not enough. Still about 7 yards shy of the first down marker, but that'll do it for the first half. Sam Weich with the Bucs charging hard at the end of the first half. The Bucs lead it 10-7. Halftime will be coming your way with Greg and Terry in New York after this.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by...
You know, it's like mid-season for those guys. I was watching them on the NFL Today earlier. Greg, of course, always in control, calm and relaxed. Terry, I mean, worked up as if he was going to play himself.
I think that the beginning of the season kind of affects old football players in a certain way. I was kind of like that myself.
Now we're getting a report from the field that, in fact, Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, he's actually signaling for timeout here as well. The net effect is 2 seconds have been added to the clock, and the players will have to play that. Some guys had already gone in to rinse their faces off, and they're being brought back on the field.
These guys were already probably into the orange juice. Now we know what Floyd Peters is thinking. Now this logic is a little more sound. He's thinking that with 2 seconds on, making Phoenix punt the ball, they can go for a punt block here. Block it, perhaps score. But apparently they're not going to.
And Phoenix is not buying the bait on 4th and 8. Rosenbaugh instead is going to go up top to Randall Hill. And according to the clock this time, we have, in fact, used up the 2 seconds. So we will try to go to halftime again. Greg and Terry are in New York, poised and ready. Bucs on top by 3. And Johnny Bailey, wisely, 5 yards deep in the end zone, decides to keep it there. And Phoenix will start 1st and 10 from its own 20. Highlights from the first half. Phoenix, as Rosenbaugh hands it to Anthony Thompson. And Thompson, good blocking up front as he takes it in for the score.
Good blocking up front. Not only is it good blocking up front, but one of the first Phoenix rushing touchdowns in quite a while.
And here was a disputed Tampa touchdown, but you said it was good.
This is the Tampa touchdown, which was disputed. A fumble, but as it was determined by the officials, the fumble took place after the ball broke the plane of the goal line. Touchdown.
And the net effect right now, Tampa on top 10-7. Just underway here in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Ball at their own 20. Rosenbaugh, play action, has time, throws it to Randall Hill, complete for the first down near the 35. A 15-yard pass play, and a very poised and calm Tim Rosenbaugh with a lot of time.
Well, once again, Rosenbaugh got some time. The key here is the beginning of the third quarter. Bugle wants to come out and establish something right now. The third quarter sets the tone for the game. He's got to have a drive here. He knows that. And he's got to get his guys downfield, use up some time, and put something on the board. This will establish the tempo for the rest of the game.
Randall Hill doing a decent job indeed. 5 catches for 38 yards. 1st and 10. Ball at the 34. Play action again. Rosie running right, being chased by Mark Wheeler. Throws it complete. And Broderick Thomas rides out of bounds Butch Rowe. And Butch Rowe, not a small guy at all at 6'3", 250. But Broderick Thomas, he loves a good fight and a good talk.
Well, he certainly does. We talked to him for quite a while yesterday. He doesn't mind blowing his own horn, but to his credit, he's a fine linebacker.
As a matter of fact, Broderick Thomas can back it up, though.
He can back it up. He's a good Nebraska linebacker. He's matched, of course, with Jimmy Williams on the other side, another Nebraska linebacker. They feel that Nebraska is where the hitting begins.
Where it begins, I like that. 2nd and 9. Phoenix from its own 36. Rosenbaugh to the left, under pressure, and sack. Give the credit to Santana Dotson, sack number 1. Now, is Broderick Thomas trying to take credit for it?
Well, we said Broderick Thomas doesn't mind blowing his own horn. I think Santana Dotson got that sack, buddy. Let's take a look at Broderick. He's lined up on the other side next to Mark Wheeler. Good burst to the outside, comes upfield, but I think Mr. Dotson is there first.
71 is the man that time. Thomas may want to explain that I should receive half a credit for that, but Santana Dotson, what a great effort on this young man's part. Rookie out of Baylor. And I mentioned before, only one rookie starting on defense for Tampa. Make that 2. Santana Dotson and Mark Wheeler. 3rd and 21, a loss of 12 on that sack. Baylor. Stopped by guess who? The quiet one, Broderick Thomas.
The quiet one, the man who's lobbying heavy to get at least half of that last sack.
And a young man who also was quite upset, as he told us, George, about not being selected as a Pro Bowler. All marked at the 33-yard line, 1st and 10. And George, again, we mentioned that Sam White wanted to try and wear down the bigger players from Phoenix. Does it look as if that's happening at all to you?
Well, I think that what happened to surprise Sam is that he just blocked them. He didn't have to wear them down. But from the very beginning of the first quarter, they've really been dominating the line of scrimmage, I believe.
And Cobb, with some good blocking, moves ahead for 5 to bring up a 2nd and 5. We talked about Doug Williams being honored at halftime into the Crew of Honor. Take a look at that.
This team, this organization has not been very successful since Doug has gone. And
Sam White might have put that up. We're talking about all the things Sam has to do to get this team winning after 9 years of losing.
Whatever it takes, as Alonzo Highsmith on 2nd and 5 moves ahead for 3. We'll call it a 2-yard gain. And that will bring up a 3rd and 3. Now, George, this is called the sugar huddle when actually you don't have a traditional huddle. Vinny talking to his guys at the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely. What it is sometimes they do need to get together and talk so things are clear, especially if there's crowd noise. What they do is they call it a sugar huddle, and they do it at the line of scrimmage.
All a part of the no huddle of Sam White. And Testaverde seemingly enjoying the increase in responsibilities as he's audibly at the line. Ball marked at the 40 on 3rd down. And Highsmith, a hard-fought few yards, and he may be about a half a yard shy. Mike Jones on the tackle. Alonzo Highsmith was one of the top 3 draft picks in the '87 draft, along with Vinny Testaverde and Cornelius Bennett.
You know, he's a great blocker, JB, and there was a rumor that he had a bad knee. You and I spoke to him ourselves. He said the knee is fine. You know, he's had some time. He caught a pass, I believe, in the first quarter of this game. So he's not only is he blocking, but he's running well. He can catch the pass out of the backfield. He adds another dimension to Sam White's no-huddle offense.
Well, we'll see what dimension Sam will add to the offense as they're about 6 inches shy of the 1st down. So the adventure begins with Sam. Billboards all around town saying just that. And this is on 4th down, 4th and inches. Boy, is this a pretty good gamble.
I think it's a gamble, not a gamble I would take, having the lead this early in the 3rd quarter. I'd
and
put
ball
it away,
at your own 42.
But then again, I'm not Sam White.
Well, let's see if it pays dividends. Cobb, big dividends, big hole. The Bucs needed 6 inches. They got 16 yards. Michael Zordich on the stop. Quick play, Testaverde, sack, and give the credit to Mike Jones, the 2nd-year player out of North Carolina State. 2nd sack of Vinny Testaverde.
You know, Sam, JB, that's a time that I think the no-huddle offense worked against Tampa.
Why?
They just had a big play on 4th down. We saw Reggie Cobb behind the blocking of Paul Gruber go over the left side, pick up around 10 yards. They should have regrouped. 1st and 10. Settle down, call the play. What happened was they went on a quick count, and the offensive line wasn't ready. Result, sack.
A loss of 16 on the play brings up a 2nd and 26. Ball at the 42. 10:03 left in the 3rd period of play. Bucs on top, 10-7 over Phoenix. Testaverde complete to Dawsey, and Dawsey racked hard by Tim McDonald. Young man out of Southern Cal, good acceleration and gets to the ball quickly, and that's exactly what McDonald did there. Pickup of only 6 will bring up a 3rd and 20.
Vinny took a big lick there, JB. But I think they're thinking right. The key is they have to get back a big chunk of yardage rather than go for the whole thing, chip away, and to try to get it in for a pass. You know, he's only got 3rd down, but you just don't want to throw an interception at this point in the game.
As I mentioned, 3rd and 20. Ball at the 48 of Tampa. Testaverde slipping. And throws it complete, and it looks to be for a 1st down. Lawrence Dawsey, 21 yards picked up on a play, 20 needed, and he beats Robert Massey.
And we got Dawsey. He's beating Massey, who's in for the injured Aeneas Williams. Nice delivery downfield by Testaverde. Once again, had good time. I think Paul Gruber, the left tackle, had his feelings hurt because he gave up a sack last time and determined that it wouldn't have twice. Gave Vinny plenty of time. Nice delivery.
Well, now it looked where he landed the first time. It was clearly a first down, but the spot, of course, most important, it is a first down. 5 catches for 70 yards on the afternoon for Lawrence Dawsey. Boy, talk about running the precise route.
Nice route and nice delivery. In order for a successful pass play to work, you know, all the elements have to come together. Right now, they're working very well for Vinny Testaverde.
Ball at the 32 of Phoenix. 1st and 10, play action. Testaverde looking for carrier. Overthrows him and nearly intercepted. Sam's first trick play of the afternoon, and I tell you, Mark Carrier was right there.
You know, what's interesting is that Sam, and you and I know because we spoke to him, has in his trick bag a lot of what the players will call gimmick plays. He actually hasn't had to employ many today because his team is just man-to-man playing very well. So this is his first trick play. Actually, I think it was slightly underthrown by Testaverde. Nonetheless, it's interesting that Sam has not had to go to one till here in the second half.
Well, underthrown if he was going for Ty J. Armstrong, the tight end, who was back a little deeper than Carrier. Overthrown if he was going for Carrier. 10 of 18 for 128 yards in the afternoon for Testaverde. He keeps this one on the ground, and tripping on the ground is Reggie Cobb. Well, you know, I think it was mentioned that this surface may not be the best in the world because there was a soccer match played earlier this week and the footing has not been the best in the world.
Well, that's true, but both Testaverde and Reggie Cobb fell down. It's quite possible that on the handoff, one tripped over the other.
3rd and 11. Ball at the 33. 8:05 left in the 3rd. Tampa leading 10-7. Dawsey in motion. And complete, but an immediate hit applied by Lorenzo Lynch. Lawrence Dawsey picks up 6 on the play. Will bring up a 4th and 5 situation. One out Sam. Went for it, 4th and inches at his own 42. Now the ball is at the 27 of Phoenix. But Ken Willis will come on to attempt the field goal. So this would be about a 44-yarder.
You know, it's a 44-yard kick, but it's not that significant as far as the Cardinals are concerned. It's 3 extra points on the board, but it's better than 7.
We'll call it a 45-yard attempt by Ken Willis. It's up. And it's good. Ken Willis paying dividends. You're right, George. It's not 7, but it is 3, and Tampa's on top, 13-7. Of course, with the NFL today, the last word before kickoff. And on the kickoff here, it's Johnny Bailey. And Johnny Bailey juking, reversing field. Boy, does this guy make kickoffs and punt returns exciting. Johnny Bailey with a 29-yard return. And Phoenix will take over. Mark May, number 73, one of the original Hogs with the Washington Redskins. And guess who was the head hog? I mean, can you imagine business people dressing up looking like hogs? There is our guy today, our analyst, number 74, George Starke, the original head hog of the Washington Redskins, looking trim. Now, I don't know, how would you grade yourself on the blocking there?
I think on 100, that was about 85.
He's being honest about it. And 1st and 10, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide by Ivory Lee Dotson. Make that Ivory Lee Brown. Oh, there he is, Mr. Head Hog himself. A lot safer up here in the booth.
That's right, a lot safer, exactly. You don't have those Monday morning meetings with...
nor the Monday morning pains.
Nor the Monday morning pains. But you do miss those paychecks, though.
I understand that. As a matter of fact, I want to hear about some of those Monday morning meetings with Joe Bugle. We'll get to that in just a second. On 2nd and 10, Ivory Lee Brown takes it across the 40 to about the 42-yard line, a gain of 2. Ivory Lee Brown, a man called TP, total package.
Called the total package. You know, I spoke to him just before the game, and I said to him what Joe Bugle said to me, which is, he's the ideal big back for Joe Bugle's 2 tight end offense. We haven't seen much of him today, but he's 6'2", about 245, 250.
Yeah, I'd say he's a big
package. Well for a big fella.
He's a big package. 3rd and 9. 3 wide receivers in for the Cardinals. Rosenball sacked. Santana Dotson. And Rosenball is still on the ground. That is not a sight that Phoenix Cardinal fans and certainly Joe Bugle want to see.
Let's take a look at Rosenball. Now he's going to get pressure from his left side. This is Santana Dotson. What we didn't see earlier, that Santana Dotson was picked up by 89 Walter Reeves, who then let him go and went out for a pass. Take a look at it from this angle. Santana Dotson's at the top. Walter Reeves blocks but lets him go. Rosenball is looking the wrong way. He's open in the flat waiting for the pass. He released Santana Dotson to get open. Santana Dotson made the hit. Either a miscue between Rosenball and Mr. Reeves, or Rosenball just looking the wrong way because Walter Reeves was open in the flat to the left.
Rosenball, of course, hurt last year during training camp. Spent all last season rehabbing that knee. As you take a look at Chris Chandler, 5th-year quarterback out of Washington, warming up on the sidelines. And, of course, fans here in Tampa remember Chris Chandler, brought here to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay sending a #1 to Indianapolis. And Chandler was waived at the end. As a matter of fact, I think he was waived, George, back in November. Let go. So hopefully Rosenball has just had the wind knocked out of him. They're not working on his leg at all.
Yeah, but it looks like they're working on his shoulder, JB. When you're, you know, it's odd that we can be in a business where we know this kind of thing. Usually, if they're working on your wind, it's more in the middle of your upper torso, your solar plexus type area. Looks to me like they're working on his shoulder, and worse than that, I think it's his passing arm.
And in fact, as I mentioned, Chris Chandler was waived by Tampa Bay last November 5th and was claimed off of waivers by Phoenix. And we'll come back to check on Rosenball's condition after this. Has not gotten up at all during that commercial break. And of course, as we mentioned before, Rosenball spent all of last season rehabbing that injured knee that he had surgery on, came back, was looking forward to a very bright year. And in fact, this still may happen, but we don't know exactly what's wrong with him. And George, you said it wasn't so much a breakdown with blocking.
Well, Walter Reeves, the tight end, releases Santana Dotson and goes out in the flat, wide open, waiting for the pass. Rosenball doesn't look to his left. Santana Dotson makes this wicked hit from behind. And geez, you hate to see a thing like that.
And you know, you're right. He did fall hard on that right shoulder with Dotson's weight adding to it.
Absolutely. Well, Dotson is not a little guy.
270 pounds
270
to be exact.
pounds, takes a good 8-yard run at you. He hits you. That's hard enough. And then, of course, he falls on you. That's football. Santana Dotson hasn't done anything wrong. You just hate to see this kind of thing.
Boy, and no one worse than Tim Rosenball, who has certainly put in an awful lot of hours trying to get back, and he goes down here in the third quarter play. 5:29 left in the third quarter. Bucs on top 13-7. As you take a look at the Cardinals, looking at their not only team leader but spiritual leader, they really like the kind of job this young guy has done when he's been there.
Well, of course. I mean, the Cardinals are in a dogfight. Here they're in enemy territory. They're on the road. The guy that they've built their offense around, the man they said they had to have to be successful this year, is down right in front of them. So the question is now, what kind of team will the Phoenix Cardinals become? We're at a crossroads right now. Are they going to rally? Are they going to pull together? Are they going to say our leader's down? We're going to have to make up for it individually. We're going to have to let another guy lead us. Or are they going to wilt and fade like they did last year? Joe Bugle has got to be thinking all these thoughts right now as he sees his guy get strapped, into that cart. What kind of team will they be?
And so much hope and promise for this season for the guys, and to see Rosenbach going through some difficulties like this. And George, again, judging by what we saw, it clearly was the right shoulder, and we'll bring you a report about Tim Rosenbach and his condition as soon as we get one. So Chris Chandler will be at the helm for the Cardinals. Again, we mentioned he was here with Tampa Bay. Hard to imagine that Tampa Bay gave up so much to get him, a #1 draft pick, and then waived him in November. So he's going to have to come on in place of the injured Tim Rosenbach.
Well, of course, he'll have an emotional edge in that regard, that he's back here in Tampa. He'll want to do well, beyond the fact that as a quarterback, like all quarterbacks, he wants to do well, but there's an emotional investment here coming back to Tampa. If he can pull this game out, it will be quite spectacular.
Should take a look at Sam White. It'll be Bucs ball. Thanks to that Santana-Dotson play. Santana-Dotson, 2 sacks, 7 tackles, 1 fumble caused, 1 pass defense. What a complete game. And we're only in the 3rd quarter.
Not a bad rookie inauguration.
1st and 10. We'll see what the Phoenix defense does to respond emotionally to the loss of their leader. On the ground, Anderson nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, so an inspired effort defensively. A loss of 3 on the play. Mike Jones in on the tackle.
The thing about an injury, JB, sometimes is that it emotionally is a downer on both sides. The guy loses a fella, but even for the other side, you hate to see a football player go down because everybody thinks inside themselves that could have been me.
2nd and 13. Ball at the 38. 4:39 left in the 3rd. Cardinals trailing by 6. Testaverde quickly to Anderson. Anderson has the 1st down, racing for the end zone. Stopped by Michael Zordich, but not before picking up 28 yards. 1st down, Tampa Bay.
Well, Sam White said this is the guy he wanted to get to, the man that he wanted to put the ball in his hands. He's the fastest, probably on the 10. Well, he's the fastest out of the backfield without a doubt, but they also run him downfield. His speed, I felt, was a key to their success this year.
Alonzo Highsmith bringing a little brute strength to the effort as he goes ahead for a couple. Gary Anderson looks to have legs like me. I'm surprised he's out there able to move around like that. Little thin calves.
After running with you last night, JB, hey, they made me think, big fella, but you can move them. That's the thing.
Guys, trying to drop a few here, George. And Tampa Bay trying to pick up a few in the end zone. On 2nd down, Dawsey in motion. Testaverde throws it complete to Highsmith. Highsmith inside the 5. Forward progress should show a pickup of about 3. I tell you, one of the big questions we had coming in was how quickly, as you mentioned during your open, this Tampa offense could pick up the intricacies of the no huddle. And again, by and large, not bad.
Not bad. I think Sam has given them a scaled-down version of the no huddle, giving them things that they can execute well, and they seem to be doing it today.
3rd and goal. Ball at the 3. Testaverde, little fade pattern. No interference. Up there's the flag. Lorenzo Lynch, the guilty party, as Testaverde tried to throw a little pass on a fade pattern to Mark Carrier.
Number 29, defense in the end zone. It will be 1st and goal on the 1-yard line.
It was a push. You know when you see the defensive guy go right to the official and start to plead his case?
You know.
You know.
Sure sign.
Sure sign.
I'm guilty.
It's like an offensive lineman throwing his hands up. I wasn't holding. You know he probably did. I never did that, JB. Don't you say anything.
Oh, George, my goodness. We've got something to embellish that. So the ball is marked now at the 1-yard line. It'll be first and goal. Ball at the 1 for Tampa. 2:45 left in the third. Sam White's troops leading 13-7. No signal yet as Reggie Cobb went up top.
Reggie Cobb on the carry.
We'll bring up a second and goal. Ball still marked at about the half-yard line.
Leading the defense. Second and goal. Ball inside the 1.
You know what's interesting here, JB, is that Sam White has gone to his second line, and he feels confident enough in them to leave them in at this very crucial period in the game.
3 tight end formation. Second and goal. Ball at the half-yard line. On the ground. Nope. Up top. Touchdown. Tampa Bay. Nice play action. Testaverde faking the handoff and going to Ron Hall.
Just a simple play-action play. Fakes to Alonzo Highsmith. Caught Ron Hall in the corner. When you can run, you can pass. Basic football.
Ken Willis on for the point after. And Tampa expanding its lead over the Cardinals 20-7. And a happy and enthusiastic Sam White. The adventure has begun. Adversity early in the season as Tim Rosenbaugh was taken off the field via stretcher. His back is being x-rayed, and we will bring you further reports as we get them. The Cardinals right now trailing 20-7, 1:56 left in the third period of play. Tampa Bay 6 plays covering 35 yards, taking 3:33 off the clock. And a 1-yard pass from Testaverde to Ron Hall. And number 17 is the guy you'll see at the helm for Phoenix when the Cardinals take over. Bailey from the 6. And Johnny Bailey continues to turn in an outstanding afternoon in returns. A 36-yard return by Johnny Bailey. So Chris Chandler will start with excellent field position. Too often here in Tampa, especially deep into the third quarter. Cheering from the crowd. Bucs on top 20-7, 1:44 left in the third period of play. Bucs on top 20-7. And a round of boos greeted Chris Chandler as he came out to get set for his first series with the Phoenix Cardinals.
A little bit of history here. I'm sure Chris Chandler would love to come in and bring this team back and make these people eat these boos. We'll get a chance to find out.
From the 41, first and 10. Chandler to Reeves. And the big tight end takes it ahead for about 3. All right, now let's check back up in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, at the Meadowlands, the Giants have crept to within 3 of the 49ers. Rodney Hampton scores his second touchdown of the day, this one from 3 yards out at 17-14, but the Niners have driven to the New York 5 late in the third quarter, James.
All right, Greg, a tight one up there at the Meadowlands. Bucs here with a comfortable lead. James Brown along with George Starke. Third quarter action, 1:05 left in the third. 2nd and 7 for the Cardinals. Chandler back to pass again. And drills it complete for the first down. Well, Chris Chandler coming on, trying to engineer a drive here as he finds Ernie Jones for the first down. Tackled by Darrell Fullington.
This is Broderick Thomas, and that's, of course, Lewis Sharp. Good blocking on Thomas. Tough situation for a quarterback like Chris Chandler to come in. You're cold, you know, you're not warmed up. Not only that, but they didn't start out with the obligatory couple of run plays to let you settle the butterflies in your stomach. Went right to the passing game. So far, he's come up well.
And you've seen some pretty big young guys coming at the starter and taking him out.
Absolutely.
1st and 10. Ball at the 48. On the ground, Johnny Bailey. Johnny Bailey spinning his way for about 2. And that may be the last play of the third quarter as Johnny Bailey continues to impress with his play. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score: Tampa Bay 20, Phoenix 7. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. That it normally rains here in Tampa around 5:30 every afternoon. So far, we've escaped it, and I guess the only rain of sorts has been the Buccaneers looking good on the field.
JB, that's a heck of a segue, brother. I don't think it's going to rain. But well, you're right, the skies are clear. It's the first time I've ever been here when it didn't rain, by the way.
Well, I got that note from Bob Fishman, and it hasn't happened today. 2nd and 8. Chandler complete to Randall Hill, who's about 3 yards shy of the first down marker. And right now, a busy Greg Gumbel back in New York. Let's go back to Greg.
At the Meadowlands, it's Tom Rathman Day. His 3rd touchdown catch from 4 yards out. Steve Bono to Rathman. Watch Rathman as he approaches the goal line. The ruling is the ball broke the plane before he stepped out. 24-14, 49ers. JB?
All right, Greg, and George, does it make any difference who's at quarterback for San Francisco? They continue to roll.
They continue to roll, but they obviously had a controversy in New York about breaking the plane just like we did here.
3rd and 2. Chandler. Incomplete, flags everywhere. Intended receiver was Randall Hill.
Holding, the preliminary call, JB.
That's kind of foreign to you, though, is it not?
Oh, you had to say that.
Holding, number 59, offense, penalty accepted, 10 yards, repeat 3rd down.
Ed Cunningham.
This Ed Cunningham, who's the center on Santana Dotson. Take a look at him. Are his hands inside or outside? They look okay to me. They look okay. Well, that's a pretty tough call. Pretty tough call.
Now, how can you say that's a tough call? He's got a clenched fist on his jersey.
Well, inside is technically not holding. Outside the frame of the body is technically holding.
Boy, once an offensive lineman, always an offensive lineman.
Got to support the fellas.
3rd and 12. Chandler. Still with time. In a direction of Johnny Bailey. But Bailey may not have wanted any parts of that one. And the Tampa defense does a nice job. Greg Davis having to put in double duty today. Rich Camarillo, as we mentioned at the top of the show, out with a hamstring. Jordan Hawkins back for the Bucs.
They don't lose much with this young man kicking. Last week he averaged over 50 yards, I believe. Today he's had one previous kick, 52 yards.
And this one will be brought out 1st and 10 from the 20. A 49-yard punt from Davis.
Is sponsored by Budweiser.
Up to this point in the game, Vinny Testaverde with some impressive numbers. He'd like to make that consistent throughout the year. Tim Rosenball, the big note at this point, injured for Phoenix, and it occurred with a good defensive play by Santana Dotson, that is, and Rosenbaugh goes down. Precautionary x-rays on his lower back. And again, we will give you a definitive word as soon as we hear what that is. First and 10 for the Bucs at their own 20. 13:57 left in the game. Anderson. And the slender one slipping through for about 4. We'll bring up a 2nd and 6. And we're joined up in the booth now by the gentleman who just received the honor here in Tampa, Doug Williams. And Doug, I tell you, it's got to be a nice sight for all these fans to see you back here on this field after 10 years.
Without a doubt, and especially when you go down there and you see all your ex-teammates on the field with you. I mean, that makes you feel a heck of a lot better. Then I got a chance to see Mark May.
Yeah, out of uniform. Anderson. First down run and a lot more. Gary Anderson finally stopped by Lorenzo Lynch, but a 13-yard gallop by Gary Anderson. And Doug, I got to ask you, after looking at that good play there, the Bucs have looked pretty impressive. You would love to be out there in that kind of offense.
I think it's 2 things, especially on the offense side of the football. Number 1, a rejuvenated Vinny Testaverde. Gary Anderson, who's probably the most dangerous person on offense, and the defense that has played, I think, superbly there.
Now, Doug, there's an indication over in the corner that when you left, you put a curse on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is that true or not true?
Well, you know, being from Louisiana, they just automatically think that we dibble and dab in voodoo, but I don't know anything about that.
And Testaverde has that one deflected. Give the credit to Freddie Joe Nunn, who got in there. And Vinny looks to be shaking just a bit. Doug, you mentioned about a rejuvenated Vinny Testaverde. Without a doubt, he's had his difficulties here in Tampa. What do you think is the key for him to have a consistently good year?
Well, I did get an opportunity to talk to him before the game started. And the thing that I told him, number 1, he has to go out and play up to his ability. And number 2, forget about the people who sits in the stand and go out and do what he's capable of doing.
I'm sure he appreciated hearing those words from you.
Certainly hope so.
Strong numbers today for Testaverde. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 37. And Anderson ahead for 3.
You know, JB, running the ball behind Gary Anderson, it's a little bit early in the 4th quarter, but it's not much. Pretty soon the clock will become a factor in this game.
Right now there's 12:15 left in the game.
Score 20-7. The Phoenix Cardinals can ill afford to have Testaverde engineer a long drive here and let the game go by. They need to get the ball back.
Key 3rd down here, 3rd and 7. Ball at the 40 of Tampa Bay. Off the fingertips of Stanford Jennings, the 10th-year player out of Furman. So Dan Straczynski will come on to punt it away for Tampa Bay.
Here's Vinny dropping well, looking to the right. It's the kind of play. Actually, that's a pretty good pass by Vinny. Had it been caught, it probably wouldn't have been a first down anyway. The key to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now is not to have any turnovers. It's okay to keep the ball a little bit, have a little drive, have a big one if you can. If not, punt the ball away. Make the Cardinals go the length of the field.
Straczynski with the beauty. And fair caught by Phoenix. And a last-second decision on the part of Johnny Bailey, but wisely so. That was a 50-yard punt with hang time of 4.6 by Straczynski. Getting some good action. Doug, you had talked about the defense of Tampa Bay. That was something you guys had as a real strength when you played here.
Well, when I was here, we believed that the defense could keep them to 17 points. We had an opportunity to win, and we did that.
Well, you got a chance to play with the great Leroy Selman. I hated coming down here because I had to block him.
Could you imagine him playing the 4-man line?
Unbelievable.
1st and 10 from the 10. Chandler complete to Prohl. And Prohl up across the 15 to about the 16. We'll call it a 7-yard pickup on that pass play. 11:27 left in the game. Cardinals trailing by 13. And Chandler running his version of a no huddle. Slight hurry up offense.
Well, they've got to do something. The clock is a factor.
Chandler complete to Kroll again, and Kroll hit at about the 20. So forward progress should be enough for the first down for Phoenix.
You know, JB, Phoenix is in that sort of difficult situation. Tampa is running, they've got like a 2 deep zone or a 3 deep zone. They're not going to give them anything deep. They're going to make the Cardinals chip away at it. But if they chip away at it, they can use up all 10 minutes on the clock, score at the end of their drive, and the game will be over.
First and 10 from the 20. And Keith McCants flag on a play as McCants was back there before the ball even reached the quarterback.
Encroachment, defense, contact before the snap, 5 yards, still first down.
Well, you heard it as you take a look at Joe Bugle, and he certainly will be pleased to hear that at least so far the x-rays have proven negative on Tim Rosenbaugh. He has been taken to a local hospital here. CAT scan performed, and he will be kept overnight for observation. First and 5, ball at the 25, and a flag again.
The defense is saying that somehow Chandler is drawing them off. Either an offensive lineman has moved or the quarterback has maybe stepped out or something, because all 3 defensive linemen all jumped. And to see that happen is usually some kind of offensive move.
We'll start before the snap, 61 first down.
And that was against Lance Smith as we take a look at the most frequent called penalty last season, offensive holding. And Doug, do you know that number went down considerably when George Starke retired?
Boy, you guys are
Well, I never thought the Redskins did a lot of holding. I thought they did a lot of blocking up front.
Thank you, Doug.
Bailey. And Bailey looking somewhat like Barry Sanders in that he can make a little 5-yard run look like it was a 25-yard run. He picked up exactly 5 on a play stop by Joey Browner.
That's absolutely right, JB. But on the other hand, there aren't too many bright spots for Phoenix today, but young Johnny Bailey, I'd have to say, is one of them. His kickoff returns have been marvelous, and he's hustling out of the backfield.
Second and 5, ball at the 25. Complete to Walter Reeves, the big tight end, who gets up. He gets the 5 needed, and that's a first down for Phoenix.
You know, Phoenix runs that Redskins similar offense in which the tight ends almost never catch a pass. So if they happen to go out, the defense doesn't really cover them. So that Walter Reeves is catching passes, another way of saying the Tampa's playing deep. You got to throw underneath, and you're throwing the guys that they're not expecting you to throw to, the tight ends, who are usually blockers in the system.
Now, you know, I've heard so often folks talk about the spot being so important, and it looked like he had the first down from here, but the spot, of course, makes it about 3 inches. Look at Floyd Perry. Now, I tell you, the guys really are great with giving signals on the sidelines, but I like to know what Floyd Peters is doing, lifting up the sunshades, what that means.
Well, now, you know that is a signal. You know, the moving the glasses, the smacking himself on the head. And then half of those signals are fake signals in case somebody's taping it.
That guy still pumps weight every day. 3rd and inches, 9:35 left in the game. Cards trailing by 13. And folks, it looks like the Tampa defense did the job that time. And that was against the big bruising back, Ivory Lee Brown, 6'2", nearly 260. And the Tampa defense stopped him.
That's the total package. Ivory Lee Brown running behind Mark May. Mark May seems to be signaling, Mark, you can't push after the fact like that.
Well, Phoenix is going to go for it. ball. Is the other side of the story.
You can almost feel Joe Bugle thinking his season may be slipping away in the first game of the season.
Tampa, 1st and 10. Reggie Cobb. And Doug Williams, I know it's a tough position for a quarterback to come off the bench to try and generate some enthusiasm, but you've been in those situations before. What do you say to a team if you're Chris Chandler trying to do that?
Well, number one, it was tough on Chris because coming into somebody else's home and you really hadn't played well. The defense is playing great. He certainly had a challenge, and the defense hadn't allowed him any opportunity to just dink and dunk. And he can't get it downfield. And if you don't get it downfield, you're not going to put the points on the field.
Plus, it's late in the fourth quarter, and you have to let you dink it and dunk it. The game will be gone before you get anywhere.
That's the whole objective.
2nd and 7. Ball at the 25. 7:48 left in the game. On the ground. Well, then you know what's happening here. Let's find out what's happening back up in the Meadowlands. Let's check in with Greg.
Here's what's happening, JB. 49ers with a 4th and goal from the 2. Steve Bono rolls to his left and looks for Jerry Rice, but Mark Collins is there to break it up. The Giants hold. They trail by 10 with about 8:45 to play in a game at the Meadowlands. James?
All right, Greg, and there are those who say that San Francisco fully expected to be in the Super Bowl. So take a look at Reggie Cobb grabbing that wrist of his, that wrist or a hand shaken up on the last play.
Looks like he might have broken his wrist, JB.
Third and 3 from the 21. Anderson. And Anderson slithering his way out. So Cobb is shaking off the little injury there. Certainly a victory will help to make that injury feel a lot better. 4th and 2, and Willis comes on to attempt the field goal.
You know, JB, this field goal will give them more than a 2-touchdown advantage. It's a very big field goal, and this could close the door on the Phoenix Cardinals. That's what Joe Bugle's thinking right now.
And this will be about a 38-yard field goal attempt, but Willis calls timeout. Tampa burns off 1, has 2 left. Tampa impressively in front of Phoenix 20-7. 6:04 left in the game. And don't forget, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS continues. As many of you will see Dallas at New York, others will see Atlanta at Washington, while others will see Chicago at New Orleans. That'll be coming your way next week here on CBS. And Atlanta going back to Washington. I'm sure the Falcons would love to make amends for the brutal beating they took at the hands of the Skins last year.
That's true, but also since they have the new Georgia Dome, can they play outside the dome? A new dome controversy brewing.
That's right. No dome team has ever won a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Ken Willis on for the 38-yard field goal attempt. And it's no good. And George, I saw that time on the handle. Straczynski had a little difficulty setting that ball up as you take a look.
Absolutely, JB. Good snap, fumbled the snap, and I didn't see the ball right, and a miss.
Phoenix by 13. You see the time remaining, and Ken Willis unable to increase that lead as you see Straczynski having problems setting the ball up. And many folks who didn't see that can only see the reaction of Willis, who knew that it wasn't all his fault. Chris Chandler back on the hot seat for Phoenix. 5:59 left in the game. Cardinals trailing 20-7. First and 10. Cardinals from their own 20. Flag on the play. Dumps off to Johnny Bailey. And Bailey continues up to the 33, but we'll see what the call is. There's a flag on the near sideline at about the 22. Well, Gordon McCarter, not the only one busy here on the field. We've got a busy guy in the studio. Let's go back to Greg.
Hey, no problem, JB. I want to tell you about the 49ers and the Giants. The Niners have just about put this one away. Phil Simms throwing. Number 55, John Johnson, intercepting for the 49ers and returning 56 yards for the touchdown. 6 minutes to play at the Meadowlands. It's 31-14 San Francisco. James?
All right, Greg, in just under 6 minutes to play here. Bucs on top, 20-7. Chris Chandler back to pass. Has to get rid of it and throws it away. And no intentional grounding because Johnny Bailey was in the vicinity. And Reuben Davis was breathing down heavy on Chandler.
Okay, the new rule on this, JB, is that the tackles cannot be so far back that their helmet doesn't break the numbers on the center's back. As you see, these tackles, the line is bowed back. The question is whether or not they're too far back, and it wasn't called, but it's a new rule change this year. The position of the helmet vis-a-vis the center's number.
Well, guess who is one of the biggest violators of that? Washington Redskins. Incomplete. Chandler throwing in the direction of Ricky Prohl will bring up a third down situation. 3rd and 15. Ball at the 15. Phoenix with all 3 timeouts remaining. Tampa with 2. 5:33 left in the game. And the crowd letting Chandler know they know who he is. Flag on the play. And Chandler being welcomed and greeted again by the defense. Specifically Keith McCants.
You know, that's Keith McCants that I believe jumped off sides the last time that Phoenix had the ball to take a quick shot on Chandler. No love lost, obviously, between Chandler and the Buccaneers.
Holding, number 74, offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
That's Danny Villa, 6th-year player out of Arizona State.
He's the center, JB. In a situation like this, he's got to both snap the ball and pass block. Very difficult. Not trying to excuse any holding penalties, mind you. Just the center has to both snap the ball and pass block. Not easy.
Courtney Hawkins back for the Tampa Bay Bucs to receive this Greg Davis punt. And it takes a Tampa bounce. Excellent hang time of 4.8. It turns out to be only a 25-yard punt. First month of football, but the last month of baseball as you take a look at the National League action. Wow, Pittsburgh losing. Pittsburgh have been 9-1 in their last 10 games. Houston on top of Montreal. Philadelphia loser to Atlanta. So the Braves keep a comfortable 6.5 game lead over Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, although it lost, still with a 4.5 lead over Montreal. And of course, you'll be able to see all the action, ALCS and the NLCS, right here on CBS. American League action certainly is tight as far as the American League East is concerned with Toronto and Baltimore. Baltimore, a loser to California while Toronto wins, so Toronto will move back out in front now by a 1.5 games over the Orioles. Oakland, meanwhile, enjoys a 5-game lead over Minnesota. And, of course, all of that action, again, right here on CBS. What do you think Oakland might be regretting the trade of Jose Canseco to Texas?
Well, I think that they probably don't regret the trade because he had to get out of there. On the other hand, you know he's gloating just a wee bit.
Oh, my goodness. They call it the curse of Canseco.
The Cansecan curse.
And Tampa has burned off another timeout here, leaving one. Phoenix with 3. 4:59 left in the game. Bucs on top, 20-7. Tim Rosenbaugh, the big note, of course, for Phoenix, went out in the third quarter with an injury. X-rays thus far have proven negative on his lower back. He will be kept in a local hospital for overnight observation. And Reggie Cobb slicing his way ahead for 4. Jeff Faulkner shaking up on that play. Now, you know, you would think that maybe the heat would bother many of the players. Certainly not a guy like Jeff Faulkner from the Virgin Islands.
The Virgin Islands. I believe he's the only player in the NFL from the Virgin Islands. He's from St. Thomas. I've been there many times.
But you know what? Not the only person in the building here from St. Thomas.
That's
One
right.
Bob Fishman.
We've got Bob Fishman. He's the head of the St. Thomas contingent here.
As a matter of fact, he said
St. Tomian, I believe, is how it's put.
Is that right?
St. Tomian.
St. Tomian. He can teach us how to scuba dive, at least me. 2nd and 7. Ball at the 47. Tampa Bay on the drive. And Cobb stopped by Eric Swan after a 3-yard gain. And Phoenix burns off a timeout, leaving 2. Today's game was produced by George Veras and directed by the St. Tomian, Bob Fishman. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. Our associate director is Steve Milton. And our broadcast associate is Sean Gerchitall. I knew that I was going to do that. I've only worked with him for 3 years. Sean Gerchitall,
Sean,
the senior
okay,
producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. And, of course, many thanks to our statistician, Steve Kleinfeld, and our spotter, Gary Lynn. Oh, Sean, you think Sean will get the information to me ahead of time now?
You're in trouble, JB.
We get the pronouncers from all the players, and we blow our own guy's name. Or at least I do. I'm trying to drag you in.
I know you're trying to get me in.
Oh, gosh. Joe Bugle wanting to start off on a much better note than what's happening right now, and he sees his leader, Tim Rosenbaugh, go down to injury. 3rd and 4. Ball at the 45. 4 wide out 10 for Testaverde. He takes it. And Testaverde, I think he's going to be shy. Depends on where they mark it on the first down. But it looked like his knee went down before the first down marker.
You know,
And I think we did have a lot of questions coming in here about Vinny Testaverde. Again, his 6th year. And the question was, can this guy really do it? Has he impressed you at all today?
Well, I said in my open about him being tentative. The tentative Vinny Testaverde. He has been anything but tentative today. I think that leadership is an important commodity. It can happen. Anybody can be a leader on the football field. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. We talked up Tim Rosenbaugh. We thought he was going to be the guy, you know, for the Phoenix Cardinals. In turn, it's been Vinny Testaverde, who's led his team very effectively today. He's got a new offense, and he's handled it very well. And a new coach is Sam White. He's got to be feeling good right now.
And there is Harold Jackson standing behind Sam White, one of the all-time great NFL receivers.
One of the all-time great receivers and a nice man. Sam has put together a fine staff. And you have to feel good for these guys today.
Phoenix called that last time out. Phoenix left with 1. Tampa left with 1. And, George, again, we talked about you having played with Sam White. You know the kind of guy he is. I think he really has done an effective job getting inside of Vinny's head during preseason because the players talk about how much more aggressive and talkative Vinny has been.
Not only Vinny, but, well, Vinny, of course, that's true. He's given Vinny a lot of confidence and let him know he's going to back him no matter what and to keep the crowd out of it.
And he's showing confidence here on a 4th and 1 situation. Ball at the 41. And Tampa takes the penalty and will punt it now. So the time left on the clock, 3:46 left in the game as Dan Straczynski comes on.
As Sam, you know, JB, in addition to Vinny, though, Sam White said that one of his goals was to make these guys feel that they can win, that they can step on the field with anyone, to make them believers in themselves, and that he was with them. He was one of them. We saw him out on the field or in the, you know, with the guys around him, you know, and it's his goal. His feel is that they believe in themselves, that there's nothing they can't do, and they've certainly played well today.
Straczynski on to punt for the Tampa Bay Bucs. And Bailey lets it go, and it will take a Tampa bounce and wind up at about the 3.
When it goes your way, it goes your way.
A 43-yard punt by Dan Straczynski. The world's toughest tennis, the U.S. Open, continues with full coverage tomorrow, Labor Day, beginning at 12:30 Eastern. And the Visa U.S. Open late night show will be back at 11:30 p.m. all week long. And of course, they'll keep you up to date with the day's highlights as we take a look at the scores. Chang, straight set winner. Lendl stretched a bit again.
Lendl's obviously still playing. We haven't seen him 6 set. Becker wins. Edberg and Svensson.
So still some
playing.
big names left.
A lot of big names.
Tony Starke in a quarterback for Phoenix. Young man out of Penn State. And what does he do? He throws an interception to Jimmy Williams.
You know, JB, I've got to think that's a mistake by Joe Bugle. I think, what's the point of that? You got 3:24 left in the game. You got a quarterback in Chandler who may be your starting quarterback. If Rosenbaugh doesn't come back, that's probably going to be your guy. Why yank him right now in a game that you're probably going to lose? It says, I got no confidence in you, and I'm going to go to Saka. Saka's a rookie. I don't believe they're going to go to Saka to lead this team. I think it's a mistake. Plus, you put this kid in a bad situation. He's thrown out of his own end zone. You know, it's just not a good situation. You've just made a bad situation even worse if you could.
3:24 left in the game. Ball on the 14. Vinny, play action. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Jesse Anderson. Tight end out of Mississippi State. 6'2", 245. Well, you were talking about all the things that Sam White has been doing for this ball club to try to get it going good. In fact, he had the weight room increased, did a lot of little things to try to show the guys, hey, I'm thinking about you.
He did. He built a bigger weight room, and you know the weight trainer personally yourself. He goes under the name of Rock. He instituted the Washington Redskins training system. He thought these guys weren't strong enough. They need to get bigger and stronger. But it showed belief by the head coach and his guys that he would spend whatever dollars he had to make them a better team.
And, of course, the owner, Hugh Culverhouse, and Sam White is convinced that Mr. Culverhouse wants to win in the worst possible way. Cobb dragged down from behind by Ken Harvey. He of the big guns. A gain of 2 on the play. George, you notice when you were mentioning, and rightfully so, that Tony Starke coming in was showing not great confidence in Chris Chandler. Chandler apparently was injured on the play. I didn't see the play. And as a result, Starke was on the inactive list. But in fact, you can bring in that third quarterback if your first 2 guys are hurt. So that's why right. Joe Bugle had to bring him in.
You're right. You can only bring a quarterback in off inactive if your first 2 quarterbacks are hurt. So you're right, JP. He had to be hurt.
But I like to see the play where he was hurt. I mean, if anything, he might be hurt mentally because he was taken out. I didn't see much else.
They don't count hurt feelings, JB.
Not at all. Reggie Cobb trying to apply some hurt on the run. Ball will be marked at the 5. It'll be 4th and about 1. Ball at the 5. 2:10 left in the game. And Phoenix looks to have called a timeout. That is the last timeout of the contest for Phoenix. 2:10 left in the game as you take a look at Chris Chandler. And again, he doesn't appear to be hurt. We don't want to make light of the situation, but he certainly doesn't appear to be hurt, nor do we see any indication of that on the field when he was playing.
Well, you know how football is. Guys tend to get hurt when coaches want to put other guys in. I'm certainly not going to speak for Joe Bugel, and I don't want to suggest that there's any shenanigans happening, but
no,
they have a way of happening in the NFL. When they want a guy to get in and the guy in front of them has to go down, he sometimes goes down.
Mountain time zones. Bailey out of the end zone for Phoenix. And Johnny Bailey has one man to beat. And gets a block. And Johnny Bailey, he has been doing it all day long. Now, there is a flag on the play. Whether or not the block was legal, we'll find out. Jock Jones may be called for clipping an 84-yard return by Johnny Bailey.
Not only does it look like clipping, but it was on the kicker, who you have to give some credit to, was actually running down Johnny Bailey.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And look at Bailey. He has put out all day long. What an exciting runner.
Well, he truly is a bright spot for the Phoenix Cardinals.
Illegal block from behind. Number 55, receiving team during the return. 10 yards.
And that was Jock Jones, as we mentioned.
Jock Jones got him in the trade from Cleveland. Here he is coming from behind. That really is not a very bright play. You know, it's a bad day for you, and you want to make something good happen. On the other hand, all you'd manage to do is make things worse.
You would not have seen this many fans remaining late in the game in last season. As a matter of fact, not much over the last 9 seasons here in Tampa. But Tampa, a major shot in the arm on top of the Cardinals, 23-7.
Not only is it a good shot in the arm, JB, but there are probably a lot of people in this town that wish they were here. You know, it's just this kind of thing you need to generate enthusiasm. You've got Sam Whitechout, of course, beating the bushes, and it'll be a lot easier for him this week, of course. On the Phoenix side, things are not so good. Losing is bad enough. Losing your opener is also worse. But then when you lose your quarterback, you can't really have a much worse day than that.
Tony Saka overthrows the intended receiver, Johnny Bailey. And as most of you saw earlier today on the NFL Today, that report by Leslie Visser from the Homestead. If you'd like to help, the number to call, 1-800-842-2200. Make a note, a number to call and give some help, much like the Miami Dolphins did. And certainly nice to see.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that both of these teams have really done a lot for disaster relief.
Well, out of bounds. Randall Hill caught it, but out of bounds. 1:33 left in the game. And, you know, things don't get any easier for Phoenix from here. They've got a very tough schedule ahead as they move into the thick of the NFC East action. San Francisco, impressively. Kansas City over San Diego. Cincinnati. And guess who's coaching there?
Cincinnati.
21-3. Young David Shula, of course. And the most important one of all, 2 very familiar names in the world of chess.
We are truly the total sports broadcast. We cover it all right here. That's right. Our version of the total package.
And Larry Centers comes up about 2.5 yards shy of the first down. Oh, Ray Perkins gets off on the wrong foot as Toledo blanks his squad. Arkansas State 21-zip last night.
I'm sure the fans here in Tampa would be glad to hear that, and will later.
On 4th down, it's complete for the first down. Ricky Prohl taking it down near the 25-26-yard line. Phoenix has no timeouts remaining, 51 seconds and counting left in the game. And that will bring about a stoppage of play.
Now, JB, you'd have to wonder whether Joe Bugel has made a decision here about what's going to happen in his quarterback situation, given the fact that Tim Rosenbaum may not be able to play. You know, if Chris Chandler truly is injured, then that's factor A. But if Chris Chandler is not really hurt very badly, Tony Starke from Penn State, even though he's a rookie, may be the guy that Bugel is going to go to. He told me that his owners happen to like Tony Starke a lot.
That's right. Bill Bidwell told our Gary Lynn and Steve Kleinfeld that flying in.
Absolutely. So what we see here may be the Phoenix Cardinals quarterback for the rest of this year.
Bailey greeted quickly and rudely by Darrell Fullington. Tony Covington, as you recall, left earlier. Carried out the free safety, starting free safety for Tampa. Sprained left knee and did not return to action. Ricky Prohl just off of his fingertips.
Pretty dangerous pass down the middle in the seam of that zone. I think Ricky Prohl kind of hanging out there may not have wanted to take the hit on that one in a game that they're probably not going to win.
A good start for Sam White. As we mentioned before, the billboards around town have been professing the adventure begins, and it has in fact begun on a positive note for Sam White. On fourth down. Complete, but not enough for the first down. Randall Hill.
Randall Thrill Hill. Actually, they're not a significant pass in terms of impact on the score, but still a nicely delivered pass by Tony Starke to Randall Hill.
And there's Rock that you were talking about, the strength and conditioning coach for Tampa. Right there, just behind Sam White to his right. And this guy is some kind of spark plug.
He is a devotee of Dan Riley, the strength and conditioning coach of the Washington Redskins. He told me that these guys weren't strong enough, but they certainly were strong enough for the Phoenix Cardinals today.
Both of those guys will make great candidates for special teams play. Well, that'll do it, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done it. Sam White greeting Joe Bugel. And Sam White, who made the comment that this team he feels is better than a team he had in his first year in Cincinnati. And we'll be back with more commenting on Tampa Bay's victory.